Intel Alder Lake. So Intel has released its new Alder Lake 12th gen chips,
Yep.
and this is exciting news.
It is.
It is exciting news. Actually, I'll start off by this. I was just watching a Linus Tech Tips video on the 12th gen chips with
Okay.
their testing,
Yeah.
and I'll say this: they were pleasantly surprised, especially with the i5 chip of how it performed.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll dive into this. So again, the 12th gen chip series is called Alder Lake. And there's an i9, an i7, an i5. And I think one of the cool things that they've done here is there's two types of cores. There's the P cores, which are the performance cores, and the E cores, which are the efficiency cores. And there's, I think, a power reduction required to use these. Am I correct in saying that, Stephen?
A power reduction required.
No, it uses less power.
Oh.
They're more efficient.
And
Is that correct in saying that, or am I saying that wrong?
they're more efficient. So especially the E cores are more efficient. However, like overall, as has been brought up by other reviewers, it can overall draw a lot of power when
Okay.
under full load when everything's being used. But it's still more efficient overall. But it doesn't mean that it won't draw a lot of power. Like for example, like the specifically the i9 12900K has 8 performance cores that are hyper threaded plus 8 efficiency cores. And when all those are going, people are I've seen reviewers pushing quite a bit of wattage.
Okay.
But what's his name? Jay-Z 2 Cents. He made a
Is
good
that the
point.
rapper?
Yeah. What's is it Jay-Z? Yeah, I forget he's not the rapper.
Jay's
I mean-
2 cents?
I mean, I feel like he would be kind of a cool rapper.
Jay's 2
Yeah,
cents?
yeah. Jay's 2 Cents. Yeah.
Not Jay's, not Jay-Z.
yeah, you know, the rapper tech guy. You know. Yeah, Jay's 2 Cents. Thank you.
That's amazing. And Jay-Z.
So shout out to him. I thought him and his team did a good job of showing. Yeah, it draws a lot of power under load, compared to like AMD's like 5900X and stuff. But when under just regular loads and like idle, it actually can do better than AMD. So like yeah, if you're crunching renderings all day long, it might be more efficient with AMD. But on a day to day, like when it actually idles and more normal tasks, it can actually balance out. So you. But yeah, it's a more efficient chip overall, but it doesn't mean that it won't draw a lot of power when it's under full load, especially the higher core chips.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the i5 12600K
Yeah.
looks really reasonable for what it is.
And that's exactly what Linus was saying on there, is they were looking at the tests and saying that was the big surprise of how well it performed, the i5.
Yeah.
So
Like, and for, because the only difference between that and between the i5 and the i7 is that the i5 has 6 performance cores and the i7 has 8, but they both have the same efficiency cores.
yeah.
So there's actually not there is a difference, but it's not a huge difference. Especially for like gaming and stuff, I would say you'd be hard pressed to notice a difference in gaming between an i5 and i7.
Yeah, and I think that's
yeah.
And if you actually encourage you guys, if you're interested in the performance, go watch. It's a recent video on Linus Tech Tips. They do performance tests with games and things, and they'll show you the difference between the i5, the i7, and the Ryzen chips, and it's amazing how well that i5 chip performed.
Yeah.
It's only a 10-minute or 11-minute video, so go check that out. Now, noticing this, the one thing I noticed, some people might be confused, and maybe you can shed some light to this, Stephen. So, in the past, typically you'd have, say, I have a Ryzen 7 5800X here that has 8 cores and 16 threads.
Yeah.
And you'll notice, so say for example, the i7 10700K has 8 cores, 16 threads. The thread count was typically double the core count in the past. But with the 12 series, that's not the case. Is that because of it's only doubling the performance cores?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so the
Efficiency
efficient
cores are not threaded. They don't have hyper threading. So it's one thread per core on those.
Okay.
So yeah, same with the i5. It has 6 performance cores. That's 12 threads.
Okay.
Plus 4 cores. So it's 16 threads altogether. Yeah, so the efficiency cores, at least in this generation, do not have hyper-threading.
Okay. And that was one other thing in that video, and I keep going back to the Linus video, is they were pleasantly surprised as well how powerful those efficiency cores were.
Yeah, like I'm actually suspicious that the efficiency cores are as powerful or more powerful than what I'm running in my rig right now. And I don't have a slow computer, but like I have a feeling that they're actually still quite fast.
Yeah.
I was reading up a little bit on it. The efficiency cores are similar in performance to like the Skylake architecture. Like
Okay.
at the right clocks.
Which is the Skylake? Is that
Was that the 10 or 11?
Oh, now I'm confused.
No, maybe I'm wrong.
It was a Sun Lake.
Yeah, well, what is Skylake? Maybe
Alder Lake. No, we're on Alder Lake. You might be thinking of it.
No, I think they said Skylake, and they might be apparently that's 6th gen. Apparently, Skylake is 6th.
Okay.
So okay, if I'm understanding correctly, the efficiency cores might be similar in performance to the Skylake, which is 6th gen.
Okay.
I'm running like 2nd, 3rd gen right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a lot of people. So this would be similar to. They're probably similar in performance to like a i5 6th gen core or something, which is still what a lot of people are still running that.
Yeah.
If that's your efficiency core, that's still a lot of power to have as your efficiency cores. That's not a slack job. So if I'm understanding correctly, that's kind of the ballpark they're at. And so when you add them into the multi-threading, when you're doing a render, for example, and you have all your performance cores going, and you have these efficiency cores, they're not these little things. They actually can probably add a lot of performance to multi-threaded things. So
a couple other things I should mention. So the new chips are compatible with DDR5 RAM. I believe we talked about DDR5 last week.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Well, more the cost of DDR5 RAM. And as well, what was it? The PCI Express Gen 5 is compatible with that as well. So you're going to need a newer motherboard because it's I want to say that, was it the LGA 1700 socket as well. So it's a different socket for your processor. A couple other things just along this was there is an article. Now this is on The Verge. So they were talking about the 12th gen core. Basically, the i9 doesn't need Windows 11. So they ran some tests essentially, and they said the tests they did, in gaming, it was only a negligible difference between the Windows 10 and Windows 11, a couple frames per second. So, yes, it will run better with Windows 11, but the performance wasn't that hampered in Windows 10.
I actually saw, was it Linus Tech Tips? They're showing, maybe them, that there's actually cases where it was in favor of Windows 10, like marginally.
That was probably Jay-Z.
No, I think that was...
You
no, it
totally
wasn't
guessed
Jay-Z.
that.
It wasn't the rapper. No, that was actually Steve from Gamers Nexus.
Okay.
They do. No. You know, our rapper bros, Jay-Z and Nexus there. The rapper duo. No, Steve from Gamers Nexus, they did some thorough testing, and they found actually marginal differences improvement in Windows 10, even like back and forth.
Yeah.
And so they were saying how some of the statements being thrown out there saying that Windows 11 was better, being like, yeah, that ain't exactly true. It's a hit and miss, sometimes in favor of Windows 10. So it's basically at this point, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
It's definitely the interesting thing about these new processors is it's definitely going to be a pricier upgrade at this point if you want it, because you have to get basically the newest motherboards, you have to get
Yeah.
You don't have to use DDR5 RAM. You can. It does still support DDR4 RAM. But if you're wanting to build that top of the line spec PC, you're definitely going to be paying a premium for it for sure.
Yeah.
So,
But that's where, if you wanted to get into the budget way, it would be through the
i5.
i5, find a board that supports DDR4, carry over your existing DDR4 in your power supply, and that's gonna be the cheapest way to get in.
Yeah. I do want to talk just quickly a little bit about Ryzen as well. So basically, once these processors dropped, a lot of the Ryzen chips went on sale. So I bought the Ryzen 7 5800X, and I know that went on sale at some retailers for $150 off. So there are deals to be found on some higher end processors there. The other thing to mention is there's rumors that the new Ryzen 6000 series chips will be announced in the new year.
Right.
So it'll be very interesting to see how Ryzen counters this.
Yeah. And they probably will.
So the chip wars are on.
I haven't followed it yet, but apparently they showed off like this week, like 128 core CPU or something. So,
I didn't see that.
yeah, they might have. I haven't looked into it, but I'm assuming it's 256 threads.
Jay-Z showed that off.
Jay-Z, yeah. Yeah. In the middle of his rapping show, he was like, by the way, guys, check this out.
His bling diamond coated Ryzen CPU.
Spitting out some sick bits. Yeah, that's bad. Can we go on to the next topic now?
We'll go on to the next topic now. So that was Alder Lake. All right.